and we had games during the pep rally, battles of the classes. The juniors won. We won, but the seniors were a close second. So yeah, that was great. There was also the homecoming dance. We sold out of tickets, which was great. We had over 250 students attending, which was great for like the first year back. And then also, as Vera mentioned, we had the Broadway Cabaret last Friday at the same time as Haunted High. And Haunted High, like all the clubs get to participate. They all have their own rooms, and there's like scary rooms, but there's also like less scary rooms for the little kids. And it's just a great time for like students to get together and like the clubs to really show off all the skill sets they have, but then also for the little kids to enjoy, and the high schoolers. And then obviously the yearbook club is like working really hard to get the yearbook put together for this year already. I know they're trying to have like unique themes this year, so I'm excited, looking forward to what we can pull off for the seniors. And then there's also been a lot of like diversity and like equity efforts at the school. I know the Muslim Student Association's being provided because of daylight savings time. The noontime prayer sometimes falls on within school hours, so they're being provided with space within the library, which we're really appreciative of. I think the building administration has been very like helpful with that whenever we have any concerns. And then also the Cheese for Christ Club has a Christmas toy drive coming up, which is, I think it was just announced, and they have, yeah, and they're starting to collect toys for Christmas. And then also in the spirit of giving and gratitude, like the Grandview students reminded us, the Piscataway Gives Back Club is doing teacher appreciation for like schools all across the district, and they have goodies for teachers like getting sent out throughout the district, which is great, I believe. And also, I know Vera mentioned college applications, and obviously juniors don't have that right now, but the college and career planning department already has started meeting with us because that's something we're going to be doing next year. So yeah, I definitely like want to say like they've been doing a really really good job, not just with college planning but also with career planning with students who aren't leaning towards a college path. But yeah, it's been great. Yeah.
Great.
Thank you, Raheem.
Thank you. Anybody have any?
Well, congratulations beating the seniors. That usually doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed, Vera. I don't know what to tell you.
I actually gotta say, outstanding student report.
Absolutely,
You guys
they're
did a
Yeah.
fantastic job. And the open mic, what was that? Like that for like singing
That
or rapping
was
or what?
so there was a initial program that was of course the honors choir would come and they would sing a song or two, but it was really based on trying to get like members of the school community involved, and so anybody could just come and they would be encouraged to sing for their friends, and they could play a backing track or sing a cappella if they wanted. And I went up and sang a few songs myself.
You should have told me about it.
It was yeah, it was a lot of fun, and it really just highlighted the talents of our students.
All right, very informative. That sounds like a lot of fun. It sounds like you guys have a nice, clean, wholesome fun at the high school and learning at the same time. What about the Lanternflies? What was your study on the Lanternflies? What are you doing?
Well, so currently the Science/Honor Society has made made like an initiative to set up these lanternfly traps to like combat like the recent rise of the invasive species in this area. And so they were testing it out this season, and so because it's a little bit late in the season, they're using it for experimental data.
Okay.
But I've been checking in periodically because if you drive past the high school, you may see them hung up on some trees, and they seem to be working pretty well. And so the plan is to continue with these traps and to get them ready for when the lanternflies are in their peak season towards middle spring.
So,
Yeah.
okay, I think you're just trying to invent some kind of pesticide. Okay.
Oh, no.
You're going to be billionaires and come out with that eventually. But great job. Just had to, take.
That might be on the
you
agenda
guys.
for the future.
All right. Okay. Keep up the good work.
Vera, I appreciate you bringing note how hard the college and career
Oof.
ready. I know as a parent of a senior, Mrs. Chilakis has really gone above and beyond, helping guide, encouragement, a little bit of, a push to really get you through some of those last-minute decisions on what you're doing, and then, reaching out to make sure that we're all on the same page. I mean, it's nice to be noted what an amazing job that department really is doing.
It was more than just that. I mean, there's an aspect of course, getting us ready for college, but there was also another aspect of like mental health and trying to like make sure that we don't like over stress with this, and we have the right balance and the right planning to make sure that
This
we're
is the
okay.
choice for you. Absolutely.
There's a lot of times where everyone just comes up to Ms. Chilako super stressed, and one of the first things that she does is that we try to de-stress, take a deep breath, and so that's another really important thing about college counseling, in that not only are we getting ready for college, but we're taking some of the stress out of it as well.
100%.
So on that note, I want to thank the board really, because you all, when I brought this to you a year and a half ago, to kind of ask you for another counseling position. I don't think any other district, at least in the county, has another counselor just dedicated to those things. And I'm really happy to hear that it's making such strides and really being fruitful, everything that she's doing. We'll find as you get toward the middle of the year, there's a lot of scholarships that sit kind of in the counseling office. And a lot of counseling offices, especially when I was principal, things like that, would be like, yeah, we have like one kid applying, right? So, seriously, it's really difficult to get seniors to apply to these things, right, without their parents having to do it. So I'm looking forward to them helping and kind of pushing healthy applications and things like that. So thank you for those great remarks, because it means that the work that they all support and we're all doing is helping out.
Yes.
And if there's a message you can bring back to the student body there at Piscataway High School, is that the administration and the Board of Education, when you went through all of the activities, and you went through all of the, what you're doing for college applications and career planning, and you're saying it's stressful, just remember one thing: you're not in it alone. Just say that to yourself and tell that to other students, is that there are people there, you're not in it alone, and talk with people. Please send that message along, and like Calvin said, you guys, great job.
You guys are amazing.
I wish I could tell my high school self to just like breathe, because now that I'm in college now, I'm still figuring out what I want to do. And like, I didn't figure out what I wanted to do until last year, so like there's still time in college to even like figure it out.
Oh, it's a pretty big decision for a 17-year-old to make as to what you want to do with your
honestly.
life. Yeah.
And I also just real quick add, I think the Haven also has been doing a really good job, like being a support group for all the students. I know they have, in December, they're starting like support groups for like academic pressure, study skills, stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of diverse different groups that I feel like any student can join with whoever they feel comfortable, so that they really have that safe space, and I know they've been promoting that a lot. So like obviously, so, like Dr. Conjure was saying, you're not alone. Yeah, I think the Haven's been doing great.
I also wanted to note on the topic of the board making a great impact on like the future of seniors and just high school students at PHS. PHS does not have a PTO. We have a PTSO, and the S being students. And so there's recently been an increased push to involve students within the executive decisions of the governing body of the high school, and that's really been something that's it's reassuring in a sense. It's reassuring that these are students who are getting ready for an adult life, and that they have some say in the decisions as to what's going on in their school.
Thank you for that. And lastly, for me, I know I want to make sure that the board understands that the comments that we make here get back to the students and get back to the administration. Ms. Scotto, last time you talked about getting other students involved besides just the President's Council in discussions. And, I spoke to Mr. Baltasano, and I know these two gentlemen, at least one of them, had conversations about totally separate from that, but Mr. Baldessano knew we wanted to go in that direction, about other kids, just kind of random kids cycling through to give
Yeah.
their
I
opinion
was
about
actually
things.
wondering that when you were
That's definitely something that we talked about. So the principal's council itself has like a wide array of students, has interests and different ideas for the future and academic standings and whatnot. And so there's also talks of increasing it beyond just the select student councils, where there are different groups of students who can decide to come at their own fruition and to just have a say as a high school student, not having to come out of their way to, something like a board meeting, or just having more of a direct say, where they can just show up and they can express their opinions, and these opinions can be transferred upwards. And so that's currently in the works, and we're trying to organize that, but that's definitely something that we've talked about and we're planning on implementing somehow.
Gentlemen, thank you very much, really, you guys
Thank
did a
you.
great job.
Thank you.
Yep.
You're welcome to stay, if you like, or,
Have a great night.
Have a great
Yeah,
night.
Thank you.
Thank
Be
you.
careful
Thank
going
you.
home when you do, yeah.
so we'll move on to item 7, which is the president's report. There were several things, and the first, actually, piggybacking on what Vera was talking about, is congratulations to members of the Piscataway High School Science National Honor Society for taking on a project to try and fend off the invasive spotted lanternflies. As our student representative Veer told us last month, the students were researching the situation and getting ready to build the traps. Since then, Veer and his classmates have constructed the traps and hung them, half a dozen of them, on trees around the high school where the bugs are known to gather. They plan to review how the traps work over the last several weeks. By the way, I live by Randolph Hill, close to the high school, so you can put them over by my house. And everyone knows when you go to your patio door, there's these lantern flies, and they are an invasive species. So they're going to make some modifications on their traps and continue their efforts in the spring. And thanks to the advisor, Dr. Janet Rotek, and these students for their science aptitude to model outstanding community service. So thanks a lot. Second thing is thank you to our friends in the Rotary Club of Piscataway for once again donating dictionaries to every third grader in our district. The Rotary Club has been providing this service for over 15 years, giving a generation of Piscataway students a tool that served them in the upper grades and beyond. Members of the Rotary Club delivered the books to each third grade classroom personally and were greeted by hundreds of excited children. These wonderful gifts will help the children to be better readers and writers as they move toward adulthood. And lastly, thank you to our local fire companies for making visits to several of our schools for Fire Prevention Week from October 10th to the 14th. Our students got to see fire trucks and equipment up close, learn fire safety techniques such as stop, drop, and roll, and get low and go, and were greeted by friendly faces of our firefighters in uniform. These will make our children more comfortable with firefighters if they ever have to rely on them in a true emergency. And that is my report.
Thank you.
The next item is the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Dr. Connors. As always, please check out our superintendent's report and our superintendent's corner on our website. Highlights include our Diwali celebration, which we had a great night. We had over 550 people, and I'd like to thank Colleen, her team, Sarah Rashid, all the people that helped. It was a really nice evening. So. Arbor and King, trip to the Cornelius Lowe House and the East Jersey Old Town Village for colonial history. Highlights also include STEM activities, PHS Sports Roundup, and a nice little a Halloween extra from our schools and things like that. So there's some on the back table, and again, it's on our website. I also want to mention our new alumni community, the P-Way Connection. We want to try to build a database with plans to include alumni in our community to connect with kids in various different ways. We already have over 250 people who signed up. It's on our website. We'll be shooting out periodically reminders to sign up. And when the 12th graders are getting ready to graduate, we'll hit them all up too. So we have them in the database. It's a simple 4-question name, graduation year, what schools did you go to? It's easy, and we're hoping to utilize that, the power of our community with our kids. I'd like to thank Gary and Robert Fry in the back there for doing the legwork there. We really appreciate it, so we're looking forward to it, so. Also, this profession, anybody who's sitting in the room and works for school districts is difficult. And there are less people going into the field of education. So we're going to try to do some things to help that. The first step we did was to try to build the capacity of leadership in the future. We started a Aspiring Administrators Academy, and Mr. Desai and myself were in the room here, and luckily we had about 56 people who were interested, and they're current teachers in our district, interested in the different types of administrating positions, what that's like. They want to know how to interview. We'll tap all the administrators in this room to come and do presentations throughout the year. We'll have a meeting once a month, barring November, because it's just so busy and crazy. But off to a great start, and we're really proud of that, to try to, again, cultivate the leadership in Piscataway, or just the profession itself. Whether they stay here or not, we think we're doing good work for the profession. So I want to do two things here. One, I want to wish Mr. Hayes good luck and longevity on his retirement. Mr. Hayes isn't here tonight, but I also want to introduce Joe Toma. Joe Toma is taking over the reins of the new PTEA president, and in the workings that I've had with him for the past couple weeks, it's been fantastic. We're really looking forward to the relationship and all the works that we're going to do together. So thank you very much for taking on the reins. I know it's a big job, but you have my gratitude in this month of gratitude here, so I appreciate it.
Good luck.
Yeah, so now I want to turn the floor over to Dr. Baskerville. He has a short presentation. Wait till you see the PowerPoint, yeah, 32 slides. Yeah.
Paraphrase.
About our student achievement data, so we're excited for that. I'm going to shut the light off here so you can see the front.
Okay.
And if you have any questions for him throughout the presentation, please don't hesitate.
Thanks, Jack.
Thank you.
What do you think?
Do you want this for the board members to come in here?
Can you see? Yeah, I'm good.
Smith. Before I get started, and I'll wait for Dr. Inlet to return. My predecessor, I was told one of my predecessors took 2.5 hours to do this a couple of years ago. I promise you I will not be 2.5 hours.
What happened to student achievement after that?
Yeah. Even though we could talk about this for hours, we will not spend 2.5 hours tonight on this. Good evening again. As I mentioned, we jokingly spoke about one of my predecessors in my role taking 2.5 hours. I will not be 2.5 hours. Also, as we talk around the county, and those of us who are in this seat and we have to do this, we're mandated yearly to do this by CUSAC. A lot of us sweat when it gets to this point. But I'm not sweating tonight. I'm actually celebrating because we're in a very good place.
All right.
I left this for you so it'll be easier for you. There's so much information, and I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on a lot of this. but I think it'll be easy if you just follow along in the handout that I gave you. You probably could be able to see better. We are required to report out on all of the assessments that were given, mandated by the state this year. We were required to do 5 assessments: Start Strong, NJSLA, the NJGPA, the Graduate Proficiency Assessment, which was a field test last year, so it was field tested. But the state required us to still report out to the board on that. But to report out on Access, DLM, and we're going to put College Board in. We're not required to do that, but we're going to do that as well because a lot of our achievement can be seen actually in the College Board data. Last year we did 8,588 units of Start Strong. This year we did 8,412 units of Start Strong. And the previous year, Start Strong was not mandated, it was optional. This year, it is mandated, so the state mandated that we do it. There is an inverse relationship between, and I just want to bring this out, level 1 and level 3. So what we want to do is we want to move students. Level 3 means little to no support needed. Of course, level 1 being strong support needed. So if you can see here, we see where we made movement. We had 1,600 students last year who were needed support, who were on level 1. This year, 1,000. So in other words, 600 students moved from here. Well, look how that improved. Last year was 1,056. This year, 1,500. So about 500 kids went from needing strong support to needing little to no support. I think that is monumental as we move the students that way. The same thing happened in ELA and math. So we see the same similar trend in math. Look at math. We see last year we had and look at the numbers are pretty close to the amount of students that we tested. Level 1 we had last year. This year we had 1,597 students in level 1. Last year we had 1,800 students in level 1. This year, look what we did here. Same thing. We had 822 students who needed little support. This year we had over 1,000 students who needed. So that is a monumental accomplishment right there. It's amazing what we're doing. We see something a little different in science, and we were digging down. We were trying to figure out exactly what is happening in science. What happened in science, we didn't see quite the same thing. But what happened in science, we moved from wet to dry labs when we came back. So when we came back to the school, it was a programmatic change in science because they were doing dry labs. We went to doing wet labs, which means that we had to alter the program, which got in the way of testing when testing was taking place. So we think that that perhaps is the indicator of what happened in science there. This is a little tight, but the good thing about it is we beat the state. Okay, so I really want to just point that out. You can see our numbers in red, the state's numbers are in black. That's on your sheet. We beat the state in every category, and even in grade 6, we didn't beat them, but we were tied. So we're at the point now that we're not looking at outperforming the state, we're just racing against ourselves. And so that's how we're looking at it at this point. We just want to improve and turn with ourselves, and we did a real good job. We were statistically way above them, and we are happy to announce that. We're always happy to, and we're one of the districts that can celebrate that. And with all of the things that were going on, we still beat the state expectations. We beat them. And when we didn't beat them, we tied with them. So I think we did a real good job with that. That's in ELA. This is a little tight. You can see it here, but on your seat, you can see it a lot better. I highlighted the red and the blue. What we see here in ELA in the red and blue is the African Americans and the Hispanic. So if you see the African American and the Hispanic there. Essentially what we see is that there is the disproportionality between Latinos and African Americans has closed. The gap between, and we celebrate that as well. Statistically, what we've seen over the years is that our numbers have been lower than the percentage of our students in that demographic in the district. So for example, this year, Asians make up 33% of Piscataway, African Americans make up 25%,